Welcome to Complete BS, the official podcast of couch coaches everywhere. Not just football. It's every sport that ruins your parlay, wrecks your fantasy week, and still brings you back for more. Buzzer beaters, blown leads, and brackets and flames. Yeah, we're all over it. Unfiltered takes, armchair analysis, and enough bold opinions to fill a playbook. Hosted by Brian Schmuck, sports junkie, the Saban of stats, and your official voice of, I could coach better than that. Let's go.
All right, B, you ready to talk some college football, some teams, some predictions, some situations?
Let's go. Let me see what you got.
I got it. All right, give me a team that everybody's sleeping on this season.
So I think the team that people are sleeping on, kind of in that vein of maybe Indiana last year, is just across the border, and it's Illinois. I think Illinois is primed for a big year. I've got them inside my top 15. Luke Altmaier is leading the way there. They've got a really good outside linebacker, defensive end, and I think that Illinois, the schedule's setting up nicely for them. They're going to make some noise, and they're going to be one of those teams that's fighting for that last one or two playoff spots.
I kind of like South Carolina in the SEC as a team that's being slept on a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really high on South Carolina this year and what they're doing. I'm a big fan of Shane Beamer there, so I don't think that they're being slept on. They're going to have a lot of opportunities. They've got a tough schedule. If they can hit that 10-win mark, they're going to be looking at the playoff in that conversation there in the last couple spots.
On the flip side of that, who's a team with all the hype? Nothing but hype.
So nothing but hype. I think they're still a top 10 team, but the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, you're breaking in a new quarterback. You got two new running backs. You've lost on the offensive line. You've lost on the defense.
If they don't live up to expectations, what's their floor?
They could lose 3 games. Think they make the playoff? I don't think they're one of the top 4 teams in the country. Maybe week 1, I'm proven wrong, and they beat Texas.
Give me your boldest prediction for the season.
I think a lot of people are looking at Texas and Penn State as national champions. My national title is Clemson. I think Clemson is loaded. Quarterback, their wide receiver room might be more talented than Ohio State's wide receiver room. They've got a really good offensive line. The defensive line is hands down the best defensive line in the country. Potential All-American candidate Avion Terrell at corner. Sammy Brown there in the middle at linebacker. The question that they've got is replacing Phil Maffa. Do they have somebody that can ice the game, that can run the ball, run the clock out, someone to take a little pressure off of Klubnik and hold the defense honest? That to me is their one question, but I think Clemson is loaded and they win the national title.
All right, in a perfect world, how do you see the season ending?
One of the things that we talked about was we wanted to see great teams in great games. And so far, I think the playoffs has kind of failed to deliver that. We've had a lot of blowouts and unexciting games in the playoffs. So for me, in a perfect world, I think we have really compelling matchups. Maybe this year by removing the 4 conference champions, the highest ranked conference champions getting the byes, maybe that gives a little bit more balance to things. You have the top 4, they're the ones that get the bye. So maybe we get some better matchups. I still think that 12 is actually too many, and there aren't 12 teams worthy of winning the national championship. So I still think we're going to end up with a couple of blowouts, but I hope we get a lot better competitive games, especially when we get into that Final Four national championship game.
So that's the perfect scenario. How do you think it really ends?
I actually think that we get what we're talking about. You're looking at Clemson, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, I think, is going to be up there. Oregon, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. That's 8 teams right there. I think you're going to get your Final Four out of that 8 group. I think you're going to end up getting really good semifinal and then national championship games.
Who do you have as the best player in college football?
The best player in college football, if he were draft eligible, I think he would have been, if not the number 1 pick in the draft, definitely top 3. Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State. There's not a question in my mind. He's the best player in college football. He's only a sophomore. We still get to watch him one more year in college football before he's draft eligible. He's phenomenal, and he's only going to get better.
You got any second or third options after him?
I really like Jeremiah Love, the running back at Notre Dame. I would have loved to have seen if he were 100% healthy in that national championship game, could he have been the difference in putting them over the top against Ohio State? He was banged up in that game. I think he's primed for a really, really good year. And then I love Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson. The guy's just a massive human being. Last year, because of some injuries, he ended up having to play outside, out of position, more on a defensive end position. He'll be back at his natural spot inside. He's the number one defensive tackle in the country. He's going to hear his name called early in the NFL draft, and he's just a stud.
Too early to throw DJ Lagway in that group?
Too early. I need to see it a little bit more out of him. There's a lot. I mean, there are so many good, talented quarterbacks out there that are young. Just in the SEC, you look at Lagway, you look at Lenoris Sellers. I really like Austin Simmons at Ole Miss too. He doesn't have a lot of experience under his belt, having Jackson Dart there last year, but the tiny little sample size that we saw him, he's got a different skill set than what Dart had with Lane Kiffin there. I think he's going to have a really strong year. He's going to turn some heads this season, and that's just in the SEC.
Are you including Arch Manning in there?
I got to credit the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier mentioned this. If Archie was as good as everybody thinks he is, why wasn't he playing last year over a 7th-round draft choice? People have him as the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year, as the Heisman frontrunner, and he was sitting behind a 7th-round NFL quarterback last year.
Sometimes the seniority happens. Sometimes you don't come in and hit the ground running right away. It doesn't mean he can't be better this year. We'll see. I think he ends up being really good this year.
If his name was Arch Jones, he would not have the same notoriety that he's got and the same expectations and excusing the lack of experience that he's got. The name Manning gives him a leg up. For me, I want to wait and see a little bit more from him.
They should give him a leg up. Have you seen the other Mannings that play quarterback?
They've done well for themselves.
All right, let's move to kind of the fan base arena. If you had to give a game ball to one fan base, who's earned it?
Penn State. That place is electric. One of the biggest stadiums in the country. You want a whiteout, they're on board with it. You want to say something negative about Penn State in the media, look out, because you're going to have your social media feed just blowing up. Penn State Nittany Lion fans, they're on board all the time. They live and breathe Nittany Lion football. They're going to white out. That place is going to be loud and electric. They've got some of the best fans in the country.
The one stadium I went to that really impressed me with the fans was Notre Dame. That whole experience is great. Fans are welcoming, they're knowledgeable.
It is the entire experience, the walking around campus, seeing the team go in for mass, walking to the stadium, going past the library where their color guard is performing, going and rubbing Rockney's nose. I don't know how they don't get every recruit that comes on a trip there, because when I went there, I thought, man, if I were a great player, this is where I'd want to go. This is amazing. That's a great atmosphere for college football.
So who's the most delusional fan base?
I think the most delusional fan base is Georgia. I think that they invented the game of football, and that everything that Kirby does is absolutely the best decision. They can do no wrong. That Stetson Bennett, he was a walk-on quarterback. He won 2 national titles. I get it. But you're not going to win every game, every year. And that is their expectation. And they don't kind of waver from it. And when you start going back and forth, you're going to get barked at too. You got to understand too, from 1982 until Mark Richt got there in 2001, they were kind of irrelevant in college football. Mark Richt brought them back, got them on the national stage, and then Kirby took them over the top. You got a 20-year span that they were pretty irrelevant.
I tell you one fan base that I don't know much about, but just from seeing them on clips and stuff, that is highly thinks of themselves, is Texas A&M. I mean, for somebody who's never done anything, they have some pretty rabid fans, which is cool on one sense, but might be delusional in another.
Yeah, Texas A&M, I think what their last national title was 1939, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's before the U.S. was in World War II. I know that much. It's somewhere in the late 30s was their last title. Big stadium, the 12th man. It's someplace I haven't gone to a game there, but I'd like to see it in person. But I agree that they're a little bit different.
What's one fan base that needs to chill out this year?
So chill out this year with the fans. I'm gonna say Alabama. I'm going with the big boys here in the SEC. I called Georgia delusional, and now Alabama needs to chill out. Nick Saban's not coming back. You got Kalen DeBoer. That's your guy. Let's see what he can do. You're breaking in a new quarterback. You've got a really good receiver. You've got a great offensive line. You've got a lot of talent on the defense. 9 wins last year was not acceptable for a lot of Alabama fans. If DeBoer does that again, there's going to be a lot of folks calling in Paul Feinbaum going nuts for over a 9-win season. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. He's won everywhere he's been. Now he's got his offensive coordinator back with him, Ryan Grubb. That's going to make him feel a lot more comfortable. That's going to be great for the development of the quarterback. Just chill out, relax. Let's see how this season shakes out.
Are you sure Nick Saban's not coming back?
He doesn't want to deal with the NIL. He doesn't want to deal with the transfer portal. He's going to be, I think, 73 in October. Nick Saban's not coming back to walk the sidelines and coach college football.
All right. Tell me something that the media always spins wrong.
I think the media loves to cover when college football players do something wrong. Whatever it is, that's the headline in the newspaper or on ESPN. They do a lot of really good things too. They are student athletes. They do a ton of community service, and not because it was ordered by a judge. They're good kids out there. They have to manage their time. They do have to go to class. They've got football. They've got everything else. They do community service. These are good kids. These are what you want your kids to be like and aspire to be. That gets missed a lot with college football because we're either just focused on their athletic ability or what they did wrong.
All right. Give me your 2 top BS moments in college football history.
Number 1, this is kind of going back now. I think this is 1990.
Oh, right up my alley. Let's go.
It was the 5th down, Colorado, Missouri, and it led Colorado to a share of the national title.
No, Georgia Tech.
Yep, if they don't get that 5th down, they're out of it. Georgia Tech gets the national title all to themselves. That was a huge blunder, total BS. Oh, you're not coming to 5. My second all-time BS moment, 2023 season, it was Florida State's snub of the playoff. There absolutely, positively no reason why Florida State should not have been in the playoff, even with the Jordan Travis injury. They'd done everything that they possibly could have. They won the games. They played their schedule. They even won a rivalry game against Florida and a conference championship with a backup and then a third-string quarterback. The argument, of course, is going to be, well, look what they did in the bowl game then against Georgia, and they got blown out. Nobody was playing in that game. That team had shut it down. It was over. Had they been in the playoff, everyone would have been there and been playing. It was a completely different team from what they finished against Louisville versus what showed up to play Georgia. Absolute BS that they got snubbed.
All right, give me one hill that you'll die on.
Hill that I'll die on. We have too many bowl games in college football. There's too many. Because you win 6 games does not mean you should go to a bowl game. Sometimes we don't even have enough teams that have 6 wins. About 20 bowl games is enough. The bowls were supposed to be a reward at the end of the season for a really strong season. To me, I'm more like about an 8-win team. Like, you need 8 wins to go to a bowl game, not 6. We've got too many bowl games. You get a bunch of garbage games that nobody's paying any attention to. All the conference champions should all get to go to a bowl game. I'm totally on board with that. We don't need 10 Big Ten teams and 10 SEC teams going to bowl games. It's just too much. And then it's just kind of mediocre football. Arkansas versus Indiana, Arkansas, Purdue. Is anyone watching that bowl game? No.
If you could change something in college football today, what would it be?
kind of going back to your point, the replay. I'm just not a fan. It slows the game down. It interrupts the game. It breaks it up. And how many times are we overturning it and we're getting it right that it's making a big impact on the game? I think replay takes away from the actual flow of the game, and it doesn't bring anything. It doesn't add anything. So I'm fine. Move on with it.
If I could change something in college football today, it would be the transfer portal. One time only or some kind of rules around that. You have to be able to manage a roster more than 6 months out.
With regard to the transfer portal, I think you got to have your Power 4 conferences come together, and whether it's going to be in a couple of years when there's some more realignment that happens and we get to some super conferences, or whether it stays as a Power 4 or it moves to a Power 2, you got to have no transfers within that top level of football. So if it's a P2 or stays at a P4 and you want to transfer P4, you transfer out, you can transfer to a group of 5. You can't transfer within the Power 4. So if you go there, coach changes, you don't like how things are going, you're not getting playing time, you want to transfer, you want a new opportunity, go to a group of 5 team, get some film, show what you can do, then you can transfer back up to a Power 4 school, but you can't transfer within the Power 4. Just like some conferences, you weren't able to transfer within the conference. I think you need to manage that and keep that together so that we're not having all of this transfers within the Power 4. Go down, get some film, come back up. Gives you a hard time for those coaches to be able to manage the roster like you had mentioned. And you're not recruiting a new class every year. You're recruiting an entire roster of now 105 scholarship players.
What's the best live mascot in college football?
Live mascot. Okay, so we're taking away the Syracuse orange. Live mascot's Bevo, the Texas Longhorn. I mean, you've got a 1,500, 2,000 pound steer on the sidelines with the massive horns. That's amazing to see that, to have that out there on the field. Great live mascot. Uga's great. Ralphie in Colorado, another really amazing mascot. But Bevo is something to see just because of the size of the horns.
We were out in Colorado together. Seeing them run like that, it's not every day you see a buffalo either. The eagle in Auburn that flies down and lands on the person's arm, that's incredible to watch.
That's a great scene. I've been on the sidelines there at Auburn to witness that pregame, and that's a really cool sight.
Who do you think is the best rivalry in college football?
There's only one game that's called the game. That's Michigan-Ohio State. It's the best college football rivalry there is. My close second, just for nostalgia, is Army-Navy. But as far as looking at the play of the game, the fact that there are great players in it, there's always something on the line. And when I say there's always something on the line, we're going back to the 60s. There's something on the line when the game happens. Michigan-Ohio State.
I do think, though, that this question can fluctuate from who's good and who's not. When Auburn, Alabama are ranked top 10, that's an incredible atmosphere. Florida State, if they're ranked top 5, top 10, just hasn't happened in a while.
And that's my point, too, is Michigan-Ohio State, there's been something on the line in that game, in that series, for almost 50 years. You'll have some time where one of the teams is down, but the other team is up and they're playing for something and they get upset. Even last year, Michigan beat Ohio State. Ohio State won the national championship.
D, what's the best tradition in college football?
And I just talked about Ohio State. Now you got another question for me there where I'm going to Ohio State. It's dotting the I. It's not like a football thing, but it happens at the football game. And it's the Ohio State band writing script Ohio and then dotting the I. Nobody else does that. That's amazing. I absolutely love it. It's something that's unique about college football. It is the pageantry that you don't get anywhere else. You're never going to be able to get something like that in the NFL, and that's what makes it unique. College football has a ton of amazing traditions. Dotting the I is my favorite.
One thing I will say is I don't get the hype of Clemson running down the hill, touching the rock running down the hill. Everyone there loves it. It seems to be nationally accepted as amazing. They're just running down a hill. I mean,
They call it like the most exciting 5-10 seconds in college football. I'm with you. I don't get it, but there are a lot better college football traditions out there. than Clemson running down the hill.
What is the best college football stadium? Now, I don't know how we're defining best here. Is that aesthetically? Is that loud? What is that?
For me, it's in-stadium game atmosphere.
Okay.
I'm kind of cheating here. I'm doing a tie, but I'm saying one name, and it's Death Valley. Doesn't matter if it's Clemson or LSU, it's Death Valley. Both stadiums, in stadium, the atmosphere is great. The tradition there is great. If we're doing it at night, we'll give LSU a notch above Clemson.
That's a wrap, B. That's all the questions we had.
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Stay with us all season long. We're going to have more college football coming at you.
Thanks for listening to Complete BS. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us online. And tell us what you think of this episode. Use hashtag CouchCoachNation, and let's keep the conversation going.